I just love this show. And maybe I'm an idiot because I love the show completely for free, but I do.
That's a fantastic question, because who cleaned that up?
The Jedi!
Oh, probably.
R.I.P. to my man Saul. Mourn him till we join him.
What's poppin', Palaxy? Today on the Bounty Board, we talk all about the finale to The Acolyte. So, kick up that warp drive and let's punch this thing. Welcome back to the Guardians of the Palaxy podcast, everybody. My name is MT, and I'm here with my beautiful friends, Whitney and Brett. What's going on, gang?
Hey, MT, how's it going?
I am so excited because of last night's episode, because, my God, we finally got Darth Squidward in the Star Wars MCU.
In the Star Wars MCU,
Yeah.
Darth Squidward has finally arrived.
We did it. Yes, hooray. I know it was 2 seconds of some guy just creepily looking out the side of a cave, but like that just made my whole life. Because like we were saying that he was somewhere in this series and he was just like poking his head out, hiding under a rock. And I'm wondering what the heck he's doing there.
Darth Plagueis is just like me for real. He's hiding in a little cave. He's watching Chimere get naked. There's a reason you could only see one of his hands out there, because the other one, he was just, oof.
Oh my God.
boy.
He's just being a creep.
I was like, me too, Plagueis, me too.
Oh my God.
I tweeted that and somebody responded and was like, Darth Perv. And Darth Plagueis the Perv. And it made me laugh so fucking
I believe
hard.
the actual tweet was, the Square Jedi wouldn't dare tell you the story of Plagueis the Perv.
So shout out to whoever tweeted me that. It was very fucking funny.
I'd like to think that Plagueis has been in the background of like every Star Wars project doing the same thing. Like, ooh, it's like watching.
Yeah. He was also sneak jerking off when Kylo and Rey were like doing the weird, like the Force hand jobs
Touching
across time space. Yeah.
It was all my doing.
He's been in the background, horn dogging it up every scene of Star Wars. We just didn't know it.
So partially for my sanity as Whitney's husband, but also our audience's sanity. Whitney, I want you to bottle in all of the horny thoughts you have, and we'll put them at the end of the episode.
No, you can't ask me to do that. That's
Horniness
not fair.
up top. Horniness up top.
Horn up top.
Yeah.
Okay, you have a minute. Get it, all your horniness out.
No, that's even worse. You can't.
That's
you
just
can't give me a
pressure
minute.
now.
Yeah.
This episode came out last night. You think one more minute and I'll be done? You think I'll be done feeling horny if I just give myself one more minute? No.
Never.
Chimere's ruining our marriage, everybody.
Chimere's tearing us apart. How dare you, Star Wars? Why have you done this? No, but for real, this episode was like absolutely insane. We get like the, Saul having to confront his past, heading back to Brendok, and like, just looking through the wreckage of everything like for the first time. I'm surprised no one has visited Brendok over these 16 years. Like, it's just like exactly the same. It's just like everything's just like exactly where they left it.
Where are all the skeletons, though? There should be a big
Yeah,
pile
where
of
are the witch
skeletons
skeletons?
right in the middle.
Where did they sweep them to?
That's a fantastic question, because who cleaned that up?
The Jedi!
Oh, probably. You know what? Yeah, that's true. Like, they probably just like
They
hit all the
probably
bodies.
threw them all into that pit. Poor Mae was down there barely surviving, and then just witch corpses come raining down.
I like to think this is like just one closet where all the bodies are in. They just shoved it into one closet and closed the door.
They just shoved it into one closet. You open the closet, it's just
They
skulls
all-
roll
they
out
just
like
all
bowling
come out.
balls.
They're going to the closet to prop their stuff inside.
No, but seriously, R.I.P. those witches.
Yes, R.I.P. They all collapsed like Toy Story toys. They were like, and then just,
I know. They were like, shit, Andy's here. And then but they died from it.
What was interesting to me was that was in the previously on. Was like, all the witches fell asleep. But they never really addressed it this episode.
I mean, like they sort of did at the end-ish, but like not really.
No, not really. Like I'm still on board with like the Whitney and I were talking about it, and she brought it up briefly last week, where like I'm pretty sure they're all hanging out in back of Polniak's mind. And that's why Polniak was drawing all those symbols. I think there's more to the witch plot that we will get in future installments. I do think there's going to be a season 2 of Acolyte.
There's got to be
What
a
do you
season 2. I mean, there's just no way.
Yeah, despite like all the backlash that this show has been getting, this show has been getting too high views, I feel, to like not get a season 2. And because like, it establishes some really core Star Wars stuff. In the narrative now, it's not done. So like, you know, we have to learn about Plagueis. We have to learn about what Chimere's connection is to with the Knights of Ren and like why they played that music cue early on in the season. There's just too many unanswered questions.
Because he and Kylo are both hot. We went over this last week. Just hot guy music.
It's the shirtless nipple music.
Sexy shirtless nipple music. That's all it is. Oh, but you know what? If it was truly sexy shirtless nipple music, they would have played it out when Luke Skywalker was milking the Thalassarans.
True.
It would have been played there if it was purely nipple
Theory
music.
debunked.
So it has to be hot guy nipple music.
Theory debunked. From on Osha and Chimere's side, we see them leaving the island on that mysterious planet, and obviously we see Darth Plagueis, which is like a whole other can of worms. Because like we did learn later early on in the season that Chimere is super old, and like we know when that happened, we were like, oh man, is he Darth Plagueis? Like what's going on?
He's just a regular Edward Cullen.
just naturally.
Looks like he's just out of high school.
That's what Star Wars needs. Star Wars needs Twilight vampires.
Oh my God, a different covenant of just HCT. Oh my God, that'd be so funny.
The internet will love it.
Yeah, Star Wars vampires after Star Wars witches. What could go wrong?
But like, I don't know. I'm really curious as to like what they're gonna do with the whole Plagueis angle. But like, who knows? They could go anywhere with that.
What do you think they're gonna do with it?
I definitely feel like Chimere is a puppet to Darth Plagueis. I think that Darth Plagueis is he's a super creepy looking dude. He's probably famous in the past for like doing Sith stuff or whatever. So like he needs to move in the shadows.
Probably famous. Yeah, I'm sorry. When you said that, I'm just picturing them giving Darth Plagueis a star on the Coruscant Walk of Fame.
They gotta stop putting Sith on Time magazine.
Palpatine probably learned a lot from his master. I mean, obviously, because like, he was Darth Plagueis was. But we see in the sequel trilogy that Palpatine very much worked in the shadows while using Supreme Leader Snoke as his avatar and like speaking through him. So I feel like possibly in a similar vein, we could be looking at a scenario where Plagueis found Chimere, like the man that was originally Chimere, and was like, all right, this is a perfect puppet for me to use while I hide in the shadows. And I feel like that was sort of teased when when we first meet Chimere, where like, all right, I stole the clothes of somebody else. I would need to fit in and blend into the in my environment so I can be effective. So I feel like it's sort of that, where like Plagueis is like, I want an acolyte so bad. I want an acolyte with a lot of midichlorians so they can be my my sidekick, so I can possess their body later on. So like I can just keep doing body switches so I can keep preserving my life force. Do
you think that's how he preserved his life force, was by doing body switches?
Yeah, and like it's sort of in the Legends continuity, Plagueis's master was a dude named Darth Tenebris. I don't even know how to say his name. Tenebris. And he had this like, he sort of like invented this way of like doing consciousness transfers at the moment of your death, like sort of like hiding himself within his within the back of Plagueis's mind, and just like chilling there and waiting for like the birth of the chosen one. So like his ideal body was like Anakin Skywalker's at the end of the day. So like I feel like in a similar vein, we could be looking at Plagueis sort of hijacking people's minds, or like hiding in the background. And like, who knows, like maybe at the end of like Acolyte season 2, we learned that, Plagueis hid himself inside Palpatine. And it's just like, all right, now I'm just waiting for, I don't know, waiting to hop from Sith Lord to Sith Lord until I reach someone really powerful like Rey. I don't know.
Like I said, Plagueis and I were the same. We both think that Manny Jacinto would have the perfect body.
That is the perfect body.
Fine. They're not really fun. You just can't get into it because they would never understand.
Man, you can't even front.
God, he's so handsome. His arms. And even though we didn't get to see him shirtless in this one, which I was really fingers crossing for again, I was really hoping. They teased it with the water. It was like, oh, maybe he'll take his shirt off. He didn't. That's okay. But we still got to see his fucking sick arms while he was fighting again, and I was like, oh, thank God. Okay, cool. At least I can die happy now.
Yeah, how do we feel about that fight scene?
It was sick. That was a sick fight.
That was a really, really cool fight. I really enjoyed, Saul and Chimere facing off and having that juxtaposed with, that sick transition from that kick from Osha and Mae.
Dude,
yeah, it was a nice match.
To the saber. Yeah. That cut was amazing. That
Hats
was the
off.
best match cut. I loved it so much. I was like, someone went to film school. Look at that.
And I love that slow motion jump that they had from like the bridge
Yeah.
to like it was just like, whoa, it's like the Matrix. Like, where's Trinity at, man? The fight was dope. And like, just like what happened throughout the episode, like, you know, watching Saul die at the hands of Osha was so powerful in terms of like Osha's transition to the dark side. Cause like when we first met Osha, like she was just like, not this. She was very much just like, all right, let me just like fix stuff and hang out with my friends and like, you know, have my little robot. And now she's like full, like they've completely switched roles. Like, it's nuts to see that like Osha became Mae and Mae became Osha. It's just like, whoa, we're at where we started at the beginning, but not really. Like it's so wild. But what did you guys think of the revelation that Vernestra was indeed Kymir's former master? Like, what do you think's going on there?
I highly suspected that she was the one who gave him the little scars. And now I'm like, oh, hell yeah, she definitely did. Dolphinitely did. I don't know exactly what's going on with them, but I do know that she is hella shady in the same way that Soul was. So she also must have done something similar to Kymir that was similarly or more messed up than what Soul did to Mae and Osha. But I think that that's why she is now so good at like covering for other people's mistakes and secrets. And that's why she was able to be like, oh yeah, doesn't it suck? Like Soul totally just killed himself. Like just she's so good at cover-ups because I think she's been doing it for a really long time.
I think she is the most corrupt Jedi without turning into a Sith. Like, and I think that's like that's really interesting. That's what this show is about. It's about exploring the yin and yang, the darkness and the light, and the light and the darkness. And I think we are gonna get a lot more in the future of these characters' stories, whether it's in Acolyte season 2 or we get like a Strangers season of something. I mean, which would essentially just be Acolyte 2. Let's not kid ourselves. I think we're gonna see a lot more of the light side within Kymir and the Stranger, and I don't think necessarily we're going to like have him redeemed at all. He still killed Jecki and all those Jedi senselessly, but I do think that like the next chapter of this story is about what the fuck did she do that was, you know, so bad that he left. And I think we're going to get a lot of sympathy from him. And he's going to sort of end up being a little bit of like a Han Solo type in our eyes by the end of this.
Oh, hell yeah, he is. He already is for me. 100,000,000%. I want to fuck Han Solo. I want to fuck Kymir. There is no one in Star Wars that I want to fuck more. I'm really interested to see the ways in which Kymir's like realization that he's not the most powerful person in this like situation anymore and how he has to kind of like come to terms with that, because he realizes pretty quick that Osha is a lot more powerful than him. He almost gets taken down by Soul. Soul almost gets him. Soul gets very close to getting him. And he currently doesn't seem to have any idea. Maybe he knows, maybe he doesn't, that Plagueis is using him as a little puppet. So I think that like he came on to the scene in season 1 as like an extremely powerful dude with like a very like dark and mysterious past and all that. And I think that next season he's gonna have a little bit of an awakening when he realizes that there's actually a lot of powers in the galaxy that are a lot worse than he is, that are gonna try with all their might to take him down.
Honestly, like that's a really good point. Like I wonder if, you know, he's going to feel a little bit intimidated by, you know, Osha's strength, because like Osha is extremely powerful. Like those two twins are like super powerful. And I also wonder if Osha, you know, in typical dark side fashion, if Osha is going to want to take his place. Like, you know, at some point during season 2, it's like, all right, I've learned everything that I could from, you know, my former master / boyfriend. Time to kill you, Black Widow style. And move on. I don't know if like if you guys ever played I haven't, like the Old Republic games, because I think that there's
No,
a
I
similar
haven't.
situation with two twins. I remember watching a trailer where, like, these two dudes, like they grew up together. One became light side, and one became dark side. Like, I like stories like that a lot. I just wonder if, like, through the end of all this, like, if Osha and Mae are going to actually survive this at all, or like if they just like both die, and I don't know.
I think they do die, right? Because
They gotta.
obviously this is the past, but also last week you were joking about like them becoming Anakin Skywalker.
I was serious. I think that.
I also think that that's like kind of where they're going. Maybe if it's not like spiritual reincarnation, it's definitely the Force reincarnating in a person. So in a way, I think their death is what's going to lead itself to the birth of Anakin.
And speaking of that, like, when Saul is like, telling Mae about, the nature of her and her sister and how like they're both one person split between two beings, we see that Chimere is like, like, how were they made through the Force? Like, he sort of like gives them a look like, I'm very interested in like how these two women were made.
He's just like taking notes in the corner.
Exactly.
Like straight up.
And like, I feel like that moment is when Darth Plagueis, I feel like he has some sort of connection with Chimere that he just like, he can see through Chimere's eyes, like, now I want to know what they know. And like, maybe he begins to covet Mae because she was imbued with like whatever magic shit in her forehead. I have a weird feeling that like, if the witches of Brendok are not inside Kelnaka's mind, they're definitely going to be inside of Mae's mind, because like that whole ceremony sort of like kind of involved them giving a piece of themselves to Mae. So it's just like, I feel like Mae has a lot more power than she realizes. The Jedi might even be afraid of that if they end up training her. And like, maybe they might try to like, use that for themselves. Who knows? Also, huge cameo in this episode, Mr. Green Man himself, Yoda.
Oh my God.
I thought you were going to say
the
Martian
dumbest
Manhunter.
Marvel cameo in the world. That was like when they just had Howard the Duck at the end, like that's what that was. That was so funny. Brett and I were watching it and we just like looked at each other and we were like, yeah, okay. Like, guess he showed up. Guess that guy is here.
He's just been sitting in a chair this whole time. Like, I wonder when someone's gonna like come into my office during my office hours. Well, what do you guys think that Vernestra went to Yoda for?
I don't know. I don't know.
I mean, like, part of me feels like she went to go see him in part because she did realize through the Force that like Chimere was still alive, and like, which is something that she didn't know when she went to go visit Brendok. And so, like, maybe she is looking for, like, guidance.
Do you think Yoda's her master?
That'd be interesting. If green people stick together, that'd be racial profiling.
Yeah.
That'd be,
I was gonna say. That's like...
Maybe. I don't know. But there's also possibility, because, like, we know from previous Star Wars canon material that Vernestra has a really strong connection to the Force, especially when she's in hyperspace. And she experiences these really vivid visions of the future. We know that, like, throughout Star Wars history, that like visions can sort of lead a person into doing dark side of things. We saw that with Osha in this finale, where like she has this vision of like what she thinks is Mae choking out Soul, and so she goes to Brendok to stop it.
Really,
and it's her.
It's the reflection of her bleeding the fucking kyber crystal in her own eyes.
Yes.
That reveal blew my mind. That was the coolest reveal. Did not expect that at all. I was so stoked. That fucking rocked.
That's the first time we ever saw kyber crystals getting bled in live action, which is like super
and it
cool.
Looks like one of those rocket pop popsicles. It looks like a popsicle while it's happening, and I'm just like, summer treat, delicious. Let me get one of those.
Let me just lick the lightsaber.
The Sith Lord have all of the tastiest treats. They
It's
have
true.
bomb pop, kyber crystal bleedings. They have Manny Jacinto's abs and arms. I'm telling you. Why not join the dark side? I think it's fun. I think it looks delicious.
What do you guys think of Senator Raincourt and like his arguments
I loved him.
with Vernestra?
Oh.
I thought he was fantastic.
Okay, Martian Manhunter coming in. I thought that's what you meant when you said there was a green guy who showed up.
He dragged the Jedi. I've been waiting for anyone to say that to that group of fucking virgins for years of my life. And someone finally said it. He was like, excuse me, guess what? You're kind of a bunch of religious zealots. You're a little bit of a cult, and you should probably stop. You have so much unchecked power for no reason, and you have you will not admit that your own emotions still play into things as much as you try to deny that they do. Dude, he just read them for filth. That was bananas.
Probably my favorite senator in all of Star Wars, which is like saying a whole lot. Because like there's so many amazing senators.
Yeah, more than Jar Jar Binks?
Oh, okay. Second favorite. My bad.
I'm trying to think. Padme, Jar Jar, Palpatine. Is there any more senators that you can name?
Probably not. But no, Bail Organa.
Are you guys real Star Wars fans? Name every
Name
senator.
5 senators.
Name every senator.
Oh my God. That would be hilarious. Like if you just go to like a Star Wars trivia night and be like, all right, name every senator.
Name every senator if you're a real fan.
Organa.
Yeah. Organa.
That's about it. But yeah, no. I loved like seeing him like, basically call out the Jedi. And like it's so interesting seeing Vernestra's reaction because like she's not trying to hear this unit at all. Like she's just like, all right, in one ear, out the other, like, who cares? Like we know what's best for the galaxy. You guys are just stupid politicians. And like they're so afraid of losing political power that they do sketchy shit like, lie. Like straight up be like, all right, Saul went crazy when he did all this shit. And it wasn't my fault. It wasn't the Jedi's fault. Don't look into us as much. And I sort of hope in season 2 that like they sort of get exposed in some way. And sort of like, get some type of scrutiny from the public for what they've done. But we sort of know in the prequel trilogy that like the Jedi are just fine and nothing of consequence really happens until Anakin murders everyone. What was my favorite? What did he say? He said, look up to heroes. It's hard to see what's right in front of you or something like that.
Yeah.
And I was like, yo, that is exactly what a lot of the Star Wars, like, fandom needed to hear. It's like, yo.
I mean, no one's listening, but yeah.
Those people usually tend not to listen. But like, he was literally like, hey, man, I know you love the Jedi, and like I know like you guys like look up like to Luke Skywalker, all these like in the Jedi or the prequels as like your favorite heroes, and that they could do no wrong. You're blinding yourself to literally what they've done in the prequel trilogy, and like and how like they fell in the first place because they were so arrogant and they thought that they were so right in what they were doing that they didn't like realize the dark-sided actions that they were taking. And like I see so many parallels between Vernestra and Mace Windu, like not just like purple lightsabers. They very much acted in the same way. The bald and purple lightsaber.
Bald purple lightsabers. Wow, we're really just putting Jedis into baskets today. We're just like, all right, the green one with the green one, the bald one with the bald one. Let's all of God's creatures 2 by 2 onto the Falcon. Let's go.
I think that scene kind of highlights everything that is sort of like right and wrong with this show itself. There's a lot of like great dialogue. So like when people are like, oh, the writing on this show is trash, that's like a scene where you can be like, that's a great line. This character delivers a great line, very succinct, but the scene itself is like super poorly lit. And like, I understand that like metaphorically, they're kind of going with like, hey, this is a conversation that's happening within the shadows. But I think like the ultimate like staging and the direction of that scene kind of like takes a lot of the wind and energy out of it. And I kind of feel like that's something that you can see throughout the entire series where a lot of people are saying it's a writing problem, but I think it's like it comes down to directing.
That's actually a really good point. Because like, in Lucas's like Star Wars movies, especially the prequels, like the conversational moments were like sort of like interesting to look at. Like they were either like walking down a hallway or like, like, I don't know, just like things were happening and they were interacting with their environment. There was a lot of like world building. And like, that's one of my biggest complaints about this season is that like, I mean, obviously like it's a TV show. So like there's very limited scope to what you can do, but like, I wanted to see more of the temple. Like, what's going on with like? There's so many Jedi around. Like, we missed living in this like pre, extinction period of the Jedi. So like, let's see what's going on. Like, let me like feel like that this place is like a real lived-in place, other than like going from room to room having little conversations. Like, come on, man. Like, I want to experience what it feels like to be a Jedi, and like, we sort of only got like a sneak preview to like what's going on there. That's just like a small complaint. But yeah, that's a really good point. Like I think that like if a season 2 needs to step up their game, like I did really enjoy the CG of this finale, especially like that space scene where Saul is chasing.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't like that space scene at all.
Really?
You didn't like it?
Yeah,
I thought
it was pointless.
sick.
It was
Dog,
pointless.
I thought it looked fucking sick. I wanted to get
there's
one of
no
those
reason
little
for him to go
galaxy
into the
things for my
asteroid
room.
belt. First of all, he could just follow above. That's fine. They're going to the same place. He knows where she's going. They're all going to that
I do
temple.
agree with that. I do think it would have just been faster if he flew over her and then just got the drop on her as soon as the asteroid field ended.
Then he's like targeting her. Is he going to blow up her ship with a proton torpedo?
My biggest question though is why doesn't he kill Basil after Basil like fucks up his ship? Like if I don't know. Like I would have. That's what I thought he was gonna do.
He's not like a direct asshole.
Basil single-handedly is responsible for his death. Because if Saul's ship hadn't fucked up and he had gotten to Mae like he wanted to, none of that shit on Brendock would have gone down like it was. Basil is directly fucking responsible for Saul's death. There is no one else more responsible.
No one's
than
more
Basil.
responsible than Basil for his death.
No, there's no one more responsible. Basil's and Saul's. No one else.
Basil's the true acolyte.
Yeah, Basil is the true acolyte.
He killed a Jedi without a lightsaber.
I'm training him. I don't care what you guys say. I'm training him. He's my Padawan.
I really did like that scene because like it showed how much Saul's obsessive nature towards these girls blinded him to like, danger. Like he was literally went right into an asteroid belt just so he could stop Mae. He wanted to clip her wings so that like she could fall or whatever and like he could save her. And like obviously that's a stupid way to save someone because like what if she dies? Like she could easily die. And that's exactly what Basil saw. Basil was like, this I was about to say a word I can't say. Like this one.
What do you say?
It comes out so naturally sometimes I'm like, oh my God, I have to stop myself.
Yeah.
But like I was like, this motherfucker's trying to kill us. And she's like, yo.
Yeah.
And so like he had to rip it because like he's like Saul is losing his shit. And like I feel like, Basil seeing that, like in like him meeting up with the Jedi by the end of the episode, he could probably corroborate Vernestra's fake story about Saul because he would be like, "Yo, I saw this dude. He was nuts. He almost killed us all." Like, yeah, I could totally see him like being the one that did all that shit because like this dude lost his mind. I don't know. I sort of like I see what they were going with that, but like it wasn't really like when I first watched it, I was like, "What the heck's going on? Like, why?" Like, why did Basil do that? Like, why? And then I sort of thought about it. I was like, oh, it's probably because Saul was being crazy.
We're going to get a flashback at the beginning of the Acolyte season 2, and it's going to turn out Saul also accidentally killed Basil's mom on Brendock. Like, he like ran past like a tree or something, and he sliced the air with the lightsaber, and his mom died also. And so we're going to find out that Basil has just been biding his time waiting to kill this motherfucker.
Darth Basil, let's get it.
Darth Basil
2025.
Guess what, ladies and gentlemen? We have a beautiful sponsor here for you today. They paid so much money to be here today to
Top
advertise
dollar.
on the season finale of The Acolyte. They were like, we want to pay you $80 million, and they did.
Listen, man, I'm tired of all of my holidays not being crunchy enough. All these soft-ass holidays, Valentine's Day, Arbor Day, too soft. I need some crunch in my holidays, which is why Frito-Lay is proud to present Dorito Day and Frito Fridays. These are new holidays for people that love chips. So every Friday, you could just buy a chip and celebrate the high sodium content in your bloodstream.
Wow. Look over here.
Oh my God, Brett! He's celebrating the holiday.
He's celebrating Frito-Lay holiday already. He's celebrating with a mouthful of dry chips, and it's not going to take him long to swallow and answer at all.
Please don't die.
Wow, I just got back from my Frito-Lay holiday, and let me tell you, salty.
Delicious.
Horrible for people with misophonia.
Yeah. Go buy a Frito-Lay product today and eat it in memory of every Frito chip that has died in service to our hunger.
Most Frito-Lay products have died for our sins, and that's why we celebrate them on Frito-Lay Holiday. Frito-Lay Holiday, the only holiday where Frito-Lay helps you get Frito-Layed.
You know who's on a Frito-Lay holiday right now? Tommy. And he's got some thoughts.
Let's check in with our boy Tommy.
I am coming live from Brett and Whitney's guest bedroom to tell you about Acolyte season finale. Oh my God. What a finale. So we've got Osha and the Stranger off on, I guess, a lover's getaway. Listen, give me season 2 of this show. I'm not a hater of this show. I'm a lover of this show. I will defend it. I don't understand all of the hatred of it. I thought the acting, the choreography, the fight choreography was incredible. R.I.P. to my man Saul. Mourn him till we join him. Thought he did incredible, but he's got Squid Game season 2 to get back to. I get it. It's a hustle out there. It's tough for everyone. But now we've got Osha and goddamn Chimere walking around on the beach hand in hand, holding hands, making plans. And it's lucky for me, you understand what a Sith wants, what a Sith needs. Somebody make me happy, set me free. We're wiping her brain and knowing exactly what a Sith wants, what a Sith needs. Listen, point being, give me season 2. Give Mayor memories back, for crying out loud, and let Yoda step out of the darkness. Stop being a coward, Yoda. I love you all very much, and I miss you. Goodbye.
Wow, what an opinion. We love it, Tommy. Thank you.
Those sure are some takes.
Okay, so season 2 of The Acolyte. What do you guys want to see? What do you guys think was going to happen? What are your predictions?
We're gonna get Osha and Chimere fucking. I'm sorry, there's no way it's not happening. This was too sexy, too sensual. Chimere is doing more like erotic acting with just his like thumb. The way he's just like caressing her with his lightsaber hand and like passing the thing it's just like, oh my God, it's so hot. And I recently read a little like interview with him where he was like, oh no, we've all been aware that everyone is like shipping us. And I don't know, man, he seems like he's into it. I think it could really be a thing. I think that we're at least gonna get a makeout. We're at least gonna get a makeout next season. Very least. I think that Leslie is on our side. I think that Leslie is team Oshamir, and I think that we're going to win in the end.
I think that that's very likely. I mean, like, 2 people can't live on a stranded island and be, young.
And not bone.
And exactly.
Now while Plagueis is around, he'll make sure of it.
But, like, do you think that, like, that could potentially be part of Plagueis's plan? Like, have these 2 powerful force wielders make a baby and, like, make a more powerful person.
Oh, you think it was like a matchmaking service?
Plagueis starts leaving like candles, like lit candles and like rose petals and like, just like
playing senseless whisper.
Yes.
He's just whispering, bone, from his corner of the cave. Just do it. Just pretend I'm not here.
They have to hear him in their minds when he like force communicates with them, and he's like, do it.
Just do it. Bone him. What do you think, Brett?
I think we're going to get a bunch more red shirts that Chimere and Osha are going to cut down. I think we're going to be introduced to a lot more Jedi that are going to bite the dust. I do think.
You think that now they're going to be on a team taking him out?
I think we need casualties, right?
We do.
Like, the thing that worked about this season was all of the unexpected deaths. All the highs and the lows of the season. I think the highest highs were when Jedi died. So I think we need more characters to kill off. Probably that like young Jedi secretary guy who just looks like he's just like
Mog.
Yeah, he's just like Master, should we tell someone? Oh no, okay.
He looks like he also got whipped by Verdestrats.
Yeah, absolutely.
Every week.
Yeah, he's dead. That's my theory.
Yeah, that guy's as good as Yorded, man. That guy's getting Yorded so fast.
I think the toughest thing for next season is, I know that like this season they really like skated away from like the Jedi are hiding the Sith allegations and like everyone being like, oh, they broke canon. And that was one thing that I was really, really happy with this episode was, oh, they actually did a great job of not breaking canon. Right. And like, oh yeah, people, if point A and point C don't connect yet, maybe there is a point B in the middle. I don't know.
Who knows?
Yeah, maybe just wait a minute and don't get super angry and it'll make sense.
Exactly.
I do think going forward, it's going to be difficult to continue to like throw Jedi at this sort of situation without there sort of being like suspension of disbelief being sort of caught by like more than just angry fans who just can't accept that like, oh, this is a mid-quality Star Wars show with a woman at the helm, especially bringing Yoda in. I think that's gonna.
Oh yeah, bringing Yoda in was silly as hell, and I can see why a lot of people are probably mad about that because it is silly. It is a real silly thing to do.
I mean, like Yoda is old as hell, and like
he's old as hell. It makes sense that he's there. It's just also like, come on, at the last possible second, you're just gonna throw Yoda in there, you weirdo.
I mean, like, yeah, that was sort of like a weird, like, hey, come for season 2 because now we got the big dog is here.
I want the baby one, and I want Plagueis, and I was good with that. If you want to bring the baby into this, bring me the baby one.
Bring me the baby.
I like the Yoda when he's the baby.
we see him make baby Yoda.
Yeah.
He and Vernestra, just like they make out.
He and Vernestra. Oh shit! What if baby Yoda? Fuck! I never thought about that. What if? Marvel, what if Vernestra and Yoda fuck, and that's how we get the baby?
That's what she was doing at the very end. It's like, Yoda, we need to talk.
I want to see Yaddle in like a cute negligee.
Oh my god! I will burn my eyes out if I see that. Please don't do that.
Yaddle having a brat summer. Let's do it.
But no, I think that season 2, in addition to like what you guys said, I definitely feel like season 2 is going to be, obviously huge for the Plagueis factor and all that stuff. Probably see the beginnings of the Knights of Ren, or something like that, because like this show and like all like Disney Plus has been doing for Star Wars is like sort of explaining the sequel trilogy and like, sort of answering a lot of questions there. And like, we don't really know about the Knights of Ren and like, their whole connection to all of Star Wars beyond like what we've learned in like comic books and like what has been added in like supplemental material. So I feel like Lucasfilm really wants to, cement the Knights of Ren as like a core cult in the Star Wars universe outside of, the Sith and the Jedi. This seems like the beginning of that story with like, Chimere probably being one of the founders of like this new like separate cult. And that would sort of explain why the Jedi don't really consider him as like a pure Sith. Because like he's not really saying that he's a Sith. Like he said that like, oh, you might consider me a Sith. But like outside of Plagueis himself, we don't know if Chimere is actually Sith affiliated or like is actually a Sith.
He's just a stranger.
He's just a stranger guy.
He's just a stranger.
The thing that this show is doing, I think, is expanding the world beyond just the duality of Sith and Jedi, right? Yeah. And like you see it with the witch cult where it's like, okay, the Jedi are just one religious group that is like mastering and studying the Force, but the universe is huge.
Exactly.
Like, it's huge. So of course there's going to be other sects of people who approach the Force from a different angle and like use it in different ways and are able to tap into it in different ways. And they don't fit neatly into the Jedi Sith box. So I think you're right. I think Chimere's storyline isn't going to be a Sith storyline. And I think obviously there's that Kylo Ren sort of theme that plays like occasionally when Chimere's on the screen. I think we are getting a Knights of Ren origin story. Also his mask, it looks the same. Like you take a look at like the comic book Knights of Ren too, and they look just like Chimere.
Exactly. So like I'm very interested to see like, and also if Chimere dies at the end of the series, or if like he just sort of like disappears as like this like immortal man, and then he pops up in like the Ahsoka events, like, hey, now I'm here. Like I'm still alive. I'm just old and young, and I don't know.
If he is Ren, they do just pass down that title.
Oh yeah,
he will be dead or old. Yeah.
No, he's too sexy to die. Stop it. Shut up. That's not how that works.
Too damn sexy to die.
So that's season 2, but like, what do we feel about this season and the show so far, you guys?
Overall, like, I know, like, I get a lot of flack for this, like, on heavy spoilers. Because people are like, oh my God, MG's getting paid to say that he likes the Acolyte. I'm like, no, like, I genuinely, like, do really like this show. I really appreciate, like, what this show is going for. Because, like, I personally view every Star Wars story as, like, a parable. Like, I don't know if that's just because of my religious upbringing, growing up in various Bible schools. But like, Star Wars was very much meant to teach people about themselves and like, about their inner fear and like in like sort of advance hope over fear. And like this season really was great about like showing people the duality of man. There is darkness within light and light within darkness, and that like it's good to acknowledge both sides and to not go to one extreme or the other. And like I really appreciate it for that. But like, this obviously wasn't a perfect show. Getting shows like, Andor really spoiled us to like what Star Wars could be capable of, because it is the best piece of Star Wars material that we've gotten since like the original trilogy, in my opinion. It blew like everything out of the water. The writing was fantastic and like it was high stakes, high suspense. And like, we sort of gotten spoiled with that. And so like going from that to like, I don't like saying lower quality writing because I feel like that's mean, but like, like not as like strong writing or like not as like adult oriented writing. It's like, it's tough, especially with like an era that people were really looking forward to exploring. I definitely feel like, season 2 has a lot to learn from season 1. But at the same time, like, I really think that Disney is doing a really good job with following what George Lucas established in his original trilogy with like the themes of hope and fear. And I don't know. I just think that overall there is some improvement that needs to be done. But like, I think that the show is great. I think that the show is a really fun look into light and darkness. I don't know. But what do you guys think?
Yeah, I think the broad strokes of this show are conceptually really interesting. And I think that's ultimately why we like it as sort of a podcast and as a group of people, because I think our brains really latch on to like fun ideas and like the world building aspects of all this stuff. I think the finer details of the execution of a lot of this stuff kind of fails from time to time. I know I was bringing up that like there's great moments of writing, and I think there's also a lot of weak moments of writing as well. But ultimately, I think the direction didn't do it any favors. Fans didn't do it any favors. I think going back, I think people are going to have a lot less criticisms, because a lot of those criticisms don't hold up by the end of this season, where it's like, yeah, everything you were upset about is addressed in some manner. But there's a lot of like scenes that were like, for example, the like asteroid belt scene, right? Where like, what's going on here? I'm not really sure. There needs to be more clarity in the action on screen. That said, I think this is probably the most Star Wars we've had in a long while. It's heavily influenced by like Eastern cinema and like down to like the sort of the fight scenes in this episode, right? We got like Tiger, Hidden Dragon stuff going on. There's like themes of samurai versus ninjas. I think it really is like a very Star Warsy show, and I'm excited for the potential in the future of it. And I think it's only going to get better as we continue the storyline. All of my problems with it, I'm kind of like, whatever. Let's throw some cool new ideas into the mix and let's see where it takes us.
What about you, Whit?
I checked my bank account. I have exactly $43 in my checking account. So hear me when I say I am the biggest Disney shill in the world. I'm getting paid millions, obviously, because I just fucking love this show. I just love this show. And maybe I'm an idiot because I love the show completely for free, but I do. And I think that it's one of my favorite like Star Wars things that I've seen in a really long time. I've had a lot of like disillusionment with Star Wars in the past few years. And I have had like a lot of issues with a lot of the Star Wars television series.
What do you mean? Book of Boba Fett was your favorite? You can't stop talking about it.
I can't stop talking about how much I love the Book of Boba Fett. No, they ruined my favorite fucking character. I fucking love Boba Fett. Don't talk to me about it. Don't fucking talk to me. I'm one of those toxic Star Wars fans. I'm one of those who's like, you fucking ruined my favorite character who did nothing on screen, but I had a whole thing built up about him inside my head that you should have known.
Boba Fett always sucked.
You're just jealous that I'm in love with Chimere now. But yeah, I really loved this show more than anything I've loved in Star Wars for a very long time. I had so much fun. I loved the mystery. I loved the howdunit. I truly loved that I knew that Soul did it. I just didn't know how. I just didn't know the circumstances, and I never guessed. Like, I didn't know it was not on my bingo card that he tried to stab a wisp of smoke and a person ended up being there, and that person was their mom. I just didn't think about that.
Feels like they didn't think about it much either.
I liked it. I didn't know it was going to happen, and I thought it was cool. I don't know. I still don't know what it means, but I really enjoyed that. Like, a lot of the things that I started off really pessimistic about, I was proven wrong. Especially this finale, man, I went into it so tempered expectations because I was like, oh, Disney Plus usually they're not super great at planning in a season finale or potential series finale as far as we know right now, but they crushed it. I did not have half as many complaints as I thought I would. I have a couple questions, but no complaints. I had a great time watching it. I thought it was super compelling. I loved the stories. I loved all of the implications of it. I loved Soul like coming to terms with his and Osha's humanity in the moments before she killed him finally releasing that fucking
oh my God.
Jedi bullshit and just accepting, no, I acted out of fear and you're acting out of anger and I see you. And like, that was so fucking powerful, the way that he let her kill him in that way, basically. Not that he had a choice about being killed. He was definitely getting murdered. It was like not up to him, but I mean, like the way that he said, like, it's okay.
It was very Han Solo, Ben Solo, at his death. Yeah.
Yes, it was. I didn't even think about that. Yes, it was very Han and Ben. I don't know if I have the strength to do it.
It's so sad to see like he was about to say like, I love you for the first time.
Know.
And like,
and that's a fucking Jedi. Jedi never
exactly.
Say I love you.
Was talking about that like in episode 6 or whatever, where it's just like, you can love the Jedi as much as you want, but like it's always going to be one-sided. And then like right when he's about to give Osha what she's always wanted, she's like, hey, you're dead. It's too late. You killed my mom.
You still killed my mom. She goes just full Star-Lord on him. Like, yeah, you still killed my mom. Just like, fuck you, dude. It was so good.
Straight up Iron Man, man. It's like, you killed my mom, Bucky. Pew, 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 pew.
Why did I say Star-Lord? That's what I meant. But didn't Star-Lord say something similar to his dad? Am I crazy?
No, because Gamora, he punched Thanos. I don't know if that's you're thinking that.
She's talking about ego.
Yeah, you are right.
You killed my mom.
You are right. I was quoting Iron Man, but I do think he says something similar to ego in that. Yeah, that's true.
Scene. It's like, you killed my mom. I should know this. I'm this.
Yeah. We got him.
Did I get a Guardians thing and you didn't? Did I get a Guardians thing and you didn't? Holy shit!
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
Fake nerd!
Yes! Fake geek boy!
I've been faking my love for Guardians this entire time.
I'm tweeting James Gunn right now.
More like light spoilers.
Light spoilers over here. No, I cannot wait for season 2. This I hope that like we get a green light immediately, and I hope that all those the toxic babies that love to review bomb things cry extra hard during that news, because like it's been a great ride. I kind of miss it. It's gonna be weird next week not having it, but like on to the next thing, I suppose. I mean, we have freaking Deadpool and Wolverine coming out real soon, so we're definitely gonna be talking about that. And it was the Cap 4 trailer. That's going to be something we're probably going to talk about in future weeks. So yeah, thank you guys for joining us on this Acolyte ride, guys. Like it's been so great to have you guys and to like just have like a really great community of people that are like, able to express their critiques in a very human and like sane way that isn't just like full of hate and vitriol. Because like, come on, man, there's too much of that in the world.
Way too much of that in the world. And we know that there's some of you guys out there who really didn't like the show. And you have still been watching Palaxy. You've been taking our opinions into consideration. You've been responding thoughtfully. And we really appreciate that.
Thank you guys.
It's okay if you didn't like The Acolyte. Guess what? Good news. We're not talking about it next week. So guess what? But if you did like The Acolyte, or if you didn't, we hope that you found a fun little space to feel whatever feelings you wanted to feel. We support you either way, as long as you're not a dick about it.
Exactly. Just don't be a dick and everything's fine. But no, you guys are amazing.
We love you, pals.
Again, if you guys want to support the channel, hit up guardiansofthepalaxy.store to get that wonderful shirt that Whitney's wearing. To go show
I'm
it off.
wearing it.
She's got
It's
all of us.
beautiful.
And it's just a really great shirt to have. Thanks to
Not all of
Pate
us.
Dementi. I need to
Not
go with
all of
myself.
us. R.I.P.
We need to get Brett on the shirt, man.
I don't know. It's okay.
We got to get a Brett shirt going. But speaking of these shirts, if you go to guardiansthepalaxy.store and you buy yourself a shirt, you know, where you can wear it to Comic-Con.
Yes.
You know who else is going to be at Comic-Con next week? Me and Tommy. And I will be wearing this shirt. And you can come find me and be like, haha, I see you're wearing the shirt. And I will hope that you're also wearing the shirt when that exchange occurs. So come find me and Tommy at Comic-Con, buy a shirt, love your pals, check in on your pals, text your pals, watch the Acolyte with your pals. Jerk off and get horny with your pals about the Acolyte. I'm totally kidding. You can cut that out.
No.
Bye, guys.
I want to do that right now. Come on, pals.